friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ty and this is Reality Table Talk. I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the latest episodes of the reality shows we all love to watch. Now, my thoughts are my thoughts, and the reviews I share are from my perspective, but I can guarantee that more than one of us is thinking the same thing while we're watching these shows. Now, I'd love to engage with each and every one of you, so please don't forget to comment below. And if you dig this video, like, share, and subscribe. With that said, pull up a seat, join me at the table, and let's get into this review. All right, y'all. So episode 1 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 started off with a bang to me. And episode 2 is pretty much continuing on that same note. We pick right back up at Shamia's birthday party, and all the ladies are sitting around talking about this Drew and Dennis situation. Now, Shamia clarifies that she asked Drew whether or not she and Dennis were screwing because the rumors are circulating around Atlanta and they've been seen out and about in matching outfits like the Bobbsey twins. Now, y'all remember the early 2000s when couples would go to clubs wearing matching t-shirts and denim outfits in front of the step and repeat? It's giving that. It's giving 1995 matching airbrushed t-shirts and Carl Kanai jeans, y'all, at the prom. They are doing way too much. Like, what the hell? Drew says she opened up for Tamar Braxton, and so Dennis reached out to her to work with her. He needed Drew to sing this song about him and Portia because he still loves Portia, but that's it. She claims again that she and Dennis have a professional relationship only. However, she says that Dennis is like a brother. So is it professional or is he like your brother, girl? Figure it out. She says again that Dennis has been an angel on earth. And that don't even sound right. And some of the other ladies chimed in as well and was like, angel on earth, like, tone that down. Drew says she calls Dennis her angel because she's been able to open up to him and talk to him about her divorce from Wreck-It Ralph. Portia says she doesn't even care if Dennis and Drew are sleeping together. She says Drew can marry, screw, or kill Dennis. She does not give a damn. She's upset because she's been a friend and a support for Drew, and especially while Drew is going through this divorce. But Drew did some shady stuff and went behind Portia's back, asking Dennis to film with her on camera for the show. And of course, Drew and all of her lying tendencies lies again and says, no, she didn't do that. Portia's like, bitch, I have receipts. I have the text. Dennis showed them to me. So about this birthday party that Drew claims she invited Portia to, Portia says she and Dennis were on the phone speaking about Pilar. And at the end of that conversation, he casually mentioned Drew's birthday party and invited her. But Portia says she was at home. She had already washed off all her makeup, so she wasn't going out. But she did see the picture of Drew the day after that birthday party and said that she was looking kind of washed. And so she was very concerned. The other ladies were like, washed? Girl, not washed. But Portia says it's because Drew was looking stressed, and that was probably due to the divorce. So now Portia's starting to get hyped up, thinking about how she's been a friend to Drew and what shitty of a friend Drew has been to her. So now she says that Drew is a low down, dirty individual and tells Drew that you done messed with the wrong one. So then she asks the producers if she can break the fourth wall. Baby. That's when Portia really goes in on Drew and calls her a slimy bitch. She says that Drew has gone behind her back, asking Dennis to film with her on camera. Dennis is the father of Portia's child, not Drew's. So what the hell is Drew doing here? Not only that, But Drew also called production and asked them to conduct a shoot for her for Go Naked Hair. Portia's like, bitch, what the hell? Go Naked Hair is my hairline, and I ain't asked you to set up a photo shoot for my business. You have a contract to wear my hair, and that's about it. So now production is asking Portia if she's upset at Drew because she feels like she crossed the boundaries with their friendship. And Portia says, you know, it ain't even that deep. It's really about the fact that I have a child with this man, and now I have to sit up and deal with the rumors that are circulating around Atlanta and worry about how that could affect my daughter and affect the relationship that I have with her father. If Dennis came out and said something on camera with Drew or did something on camera with Drew that would put him in a compromising position, that would absolutely affect Portia's relationship with Dennis. And then again, this stuff lives on the internet forever. So eventually PJ is going to see it and have questions. On top of that, Portia is dealing with the divorce from Simon, and she just doesn't need or want the stress. Drew is sitting up there looking like her usual self, lost in space, really trying to pretend like she doesn't know what's going on. But girl, you know, and I know you are not that dense. You're dense, but you're not that dense. And you're just lying as usual. So Cynthia has her little segment and says, well, this ain't the first time Drew has lied. And it's not the second or the third or the 11th time Drew has lied on this show. Like, can we switch her out for someone else? Because I am sick and tired. She just really gets me upset. She's making my blood boil. And I'm just over the lies. Like, again, Drew, come with some realness and some honesty. People will respect you more if you come out just being real and straight up instead of trying to perpetuate this facade that, you know, you're innocent. You're not. Kelly believes that Dennis is serving up more than just some hot dogs. And Kenya is thinking that Portia is upset more at the fact that she thinks Dennis and Drew are screwing. I personally don't think that Portia gives a damn who Dennis is sticking his little hot dog in. She's moved on. She's been moved on. But again, it's just the respect factor amongst girlfriends or supposed girlfriends. It's just the respect factor. Shamia's over all of this. She's like, y'all ready to go get some cake? Like, it's been a long day. It's her party. She's over the BS and the drama, and she just wants to go downstairs and have a good time. So all the girls get up. They head on downstairs. Drew makes a little sly comment to Portia talking about, I'll have your people call my people. And Portia's like, girl, shut the hell up talking to me. I don't want to talk to you at all. They all go downstairs. Kenya leaves. The rest of the ladies head out by the pool. Shamia gets her cake, and then they all jump in the pool, clothes on, and everybody's happy again. In the next scene, we are at Angela and Charles Oakley home. They're in the kitchen. Angela's drinking some wine, and Angela talks about how Charles played in the NBA, mostly for the Knicks and the Bulls. They have 4 kids between them, but one they share together. They met in Chicago at a party, exchanged phone numbers, and then she didn't hear from him for 10 years. They wound up being neighbors, and Angela said it was destiny, so they made it do what it did and got together. Now, Angela has a financial consulting company. She is a self-made millionaire, and she's purchased 5 properties to renovate and sell. Her daughter Amari asks how the party was at Shamia's house, and she tells Amari that Shamia's house is exquisite. The party was good, and that Shamia got a Rolls Royce for her birthday. Charles heard that and started slamming dishes all around that kitchen. And Amaria's like, why is he slamming dishes? And Angela's like, that's just how he gets when you start talking about luxury cars like that or expensive cars. So Angela tells Charles she does not want him working with any of her friends should they ever become exes. Charles calls the girls lame and says he would never. Now, to me, Charles is not feeling any of this. I think he's supporting Angela because she wants to be on the show, but really and truly, he ain't messing with nothing that's going on. Y'all, he could care less. In the next scene, Kenya and Portia meet up to kiki about the party, and they both pulling up in some nice looking vehicles. Kenya asks Portia whether or not PJ still sleeps in the bed because Kenya's having a hard time breaking Brooklyn of that habit. And Portia says no, she got PJ a night trainer, so she does not have to deal with that. Then they flash back to the feud between Kenya and Portia throughout the years. And baby, that feud got ugly. And I remember the reunion where Portia went to go grab Kenya. And I was secretly hoping Portia would have done a little bit more because Kenya was on my nerves that season. But I digress. So Kenya says that she met up with Drew the day before the party, and Drew was telling her all about her working relationship with Dennis. Kenya thought that was strange as hell, and so did I. Kenya's like, Dennis does music? Portia was like, girl, he did a little something for PJ, but that's it. So this whole music relationship thing is highly suspect. And again, Portia doesn't care if Dennis and Drew screw until the cows come home. She just feels like Drew should be protecting her the way that she protected Drew. And especially now that she's going through this divorce with Simon. So Kenya asked about what the deal was with Simon. She's like, girl, it looks like you've been spinning the block. I've been seeing some pictures of you and Simon together. But then there's also posts that Simon put up on Instagram that were not showing Portia in the greatest of light. Portia says that things were getting very strange towards the end of that relationship. She knew that Simon was a match and was the one for her after her book came out. In her book, she talked about her past relationships and marriages that went awry. Simon told her that he would be a safe space for her, that she could trust him. But at the end of the relationship, so many lies started coming out that she no longer felt like he was a safe space. Now, Kenya asks, weren't you his fourth wife? And Portia says, I was actually his fifth because he had a marriage that was fake. After all the lies came out, she just felt like Simon flipped the script on her, and so it was time to get gone. Y'all, I'm wondering, was that fake marriage for a green card? Now we're at Kelly's restaurant, Nana's, and she says that she had a location in Conyers, but it was closed by her ex-husband, so now she only has one location in McDonough, and she wants this location to be the franchise model. Now, Kelly's project manager, Al, is with her, and they're talking about some renovations that are going on for the grand opening that she wants to have on July 15th in the McDonough location. And he says they are in somewhat of a crisis because that restaurant is not going to be ready by July 15th. They are having issues with the kitchen build out. The renovations haven't been completed. And that restaurant is just a hot ass mess. So Kelly is like, don't worry about it. We'll get it together. We can go ahead and work on the build out and everything's going to be all good. Britt Edie is at home chatting it up with her husband, Mike, who just brought up a bottle of wine from the basement. And we learned they got married during COVID. They met when she launched her insurance agency. Now, she launched her insurance agency because of her dad. Her dad told her to always have her own so she doesn't have to rely on a man, and that's exactly what she did. Mike was her client, but she said she didn't want to date him because she didn't date clients. So they were just friends for a little bit. They FaceTimed for 2 or 3 months, and then he asked her on a date. Their first date was in Las Vegas. And she said, I'll come to Vegas with you, but you ain't getting none. Well, I don't know if he got any that night, but she said they had the best time and she figured he may be the one, so she needs to be careful with him. They're talking about home renovations. Britt wants to move into her dream home with Mike. And they're wanting to expand their family because Mike has a 15-year-old son, but he's expressed that he wants to be a girl dad. So they want to do IVF so they can choose the sex of the next baby. Britt wants her mom close. So Britt's mom is in the house with them right now. And when they move to the new house, she wants to make sure that her mom lives with them. So they're trying to figure out how they can maneuver and work it out to where mom is not right up underneath them, but she's still in the house and nearby. Britt's mom comes in the kitchen while they're having this conversation and tells her mom that she plans on getting pregnant this year. Mike says, allegedly. Mom says, finally. She thought that Britt was just going to be running around with her poodle instead of giving her a grandbaby. Britt's mom hears this and she's all smiles. So she and Britt go on down to the sauna to relax. Now, my favorite for this season has pulled up. Miss Shamia the Starer. And she shows up to Shadina's office with flowers. Shadina was the surrogate for Shamia's daughter, Shiloh, but she was also the surrogate for Candy and Todd with their daughter, Blaze. Shamia and Shadina were introduced to each other through Candy, but Candy met Shadina through Dr. Jackie over at Married to Medicine, y'all, through her foundation called Surrogacy Miracles. So Shadina was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of breast cancer 32 weeks into her pregnancy with Shiloh. She did a self-breast exam at home and found a lump. So she had to deliver Shiloh early. And Shamia says that she's aware of gestational breast cancer due to hormones. So she was concerned that Shadina may have developed breast cancer because of her pregnancy with Shiloh. But Shadina reassures Shamia and says that no, this was not because of the pregnancy. Shadina says she felt bad that she could not carry the pregnancy long term because of the cancer. But Shamia says that Shadina has kids of her own. She's got a family of her own that she needs to be here for. So she understood the urgency of needing to deliver Shiloh when she did. Shamia still wants to expand her family and have more children. So she's gone through 7 rounds of IVF to try to get pregnant naturally. And that is very harsh on the body. She had to give herself 4 shots every morning and 4 shots every night while she was going through these IVF cycles. And she just recently had an ectopic pregnancy. She found out she was pregnant. She was so happy, but then she felt a very sharp pain in her abdomen. So she drove herself to the hospital. And when she got to the waiting room, they told her there's a lot of people ahead of you, so you just kind of got to sit here and wait. And while she was waiting, she started bleeding out. And she started crying, y'all, in this scene. And I felt for her because I completely understand what she's saying when she's talking about how Black women are disregarded in healthcare. We just are. People do not take our pain or any of our symptoms seriously. We basically have to go in there just not breathing. And then maybe they'll get around to us when they get a chance. That's how it is in the health industry with Black women. And it frustrates me to no. Shadina asked Shamia how many embryos she has. And Shamia says that she's got four, two girls and two boys. And y'all, Shadina to me is just an awesome, awesome human being. Number one, she helps other people realize their dreams of having a child when, they potentially cannot have a child of their own. So I don't know how many women she's helped, but I see the two that she's helped. And even going out of your way to do that for one person is huge. But now she's also helping Shamia look for another surrogate. And I think this is just so beautiful and a testament to how amazing of a person Shadina truly, truly is at her core. I love moments like this on the Housewives. We need to see more of this. Black women helping each other, supporting one another. Y'all, I would love to see more of this on the Housewives and just a little bit less drama. I still love my drama, don't get me wrong, but more of this kind of takes away from the comedy that sometimes drama can bring and just inserts some realness and some humanity. In this next scene, y'all, the Titty Twins are back. Kelly and Britt are hanging out at Britt's house. Kelly then brought her dog over, Mimosa, to hang out with Kelly's dog, Cha-Cha. And Cha-Cha is all dyed in pink. And why do we do this to our animals? They didn't ask for that. Once the Titty Twins get settled with their wine and whatnot, they start getting down to business. Kelly starts off by asking Britt, what's up with this wedding? What do you want to do for the wedding ceremony? Britt says that she and Mike just went down to the courthouse because they got married during COVID. So they just said their wedding vows over Zoom and that was it. And Britt absolutely wanted to have a wedding, but it was more important to her at the time to get married. They delayed the ceremony, but now they are revisiting having one. Britt also says that she caught that little bit of shade that Kenya was trying to throw at her at Shamia's party. She says that Kenya needs to be more concerned about her 17-year divorce than she needs to be concerned about the ring that Britt has on her finger. And I know that's right. My thing about Kenya is that she is always trying to throw shade at somebody, but let somebody come back and throw some shade at her or more because, you can't control somebody's reaction to your shade. And she's ready to call the police or she's ready to file a lawsuit. Like, girl, if you gonna give it, you gotta be able to take it. If not, be quiet and sit on down. Kenya, girl, if you're not about that life, don't pretend because you could potentially come up against somebody who is about that life. And well, again, you can't control somebody's reaction to your disrespect. So now Britt asked Kelly about her divorce. She said that she didn't want to be all nosy and push her into talking about it and just wanted her to kind of open up when she was ready. So Kelly immediately says there was infidelity. But not only was there infidelity, this man stole $500,000 of her company's money. So that's all coming from the restaurant money. And he was cheating on top of that. Now, the way that she found out about the money was that she was on a birthday trip in Tulum and her accountant called her and said, what's going on? All this money is missing. So she ended up having to file a lawsuit to try to get her money back. All the while, her and this guy were living in the same house. And things were getting very uncomfortable and violent. The police were called out several times. She was sleeping in the closet, trying to hide from this guy. And she just says that the house became very, very unsafe. It was a hell house. So she decided to go ahead and file for divorce. And Britt is asking how Kelly's girls are with everything. And she says the girls are good. She's still doing her mom thing and she's going to try to make things as stable for them as possible. Moving on, now we're at the gym with Drew, and she's there with her trainer stretching. She's invited Angela and Shamia to join her in the workout. Angela shows up first, and they get to talking. Drew says that she and Angela have known each other for 4 years. Drew says they're both from Chicago, they're Chicago girls, so they just clicked. And out of all the people in Atlanta, Angela wants to know, why are you and Dennis a thing? Like, why are these rumors flying? And Drew says that, she's been signed to legends before, but her music never picked up any traction. So Dennis presented a deal and she jumped on it. Drew says it's just a business relationship, but she feels attacked and accused by all of the rumors. And Dennis has spoken to Ralph. He actually advocated for them to work it out and get back together, but it just didn't work out that way. She says that she and Ralph never had any arguments, but when he moved out of the bedroom down to the basement, the divorce got real ugly. When Drew said she and Ralph never argued, I had to give the TV screen the side eye. I mean, in seasons past, we've seen them argue about any and everything. They argue from whether or not Ralph was out cheating on her when he was on his solo vacation trip, or, if the sky is red or blue or green or purple today. They just always bicker about any and everything. Now, Ralph wants alimony. He wants child support. He wants a percentage of her company. Y'all, what company? If she has her own company, then why is she up here trying to set up a photo shoot for Porsches? Make it make sense. Y'all, is she talking about drop it with Drew? If she's talking about drop it with Drew, girl, he ain't stole no money. You good. You're good. The star of the show arrives. Shamia Applebaum, you gotta put me on. Shamia Applebaum, I said, you gotta put me on. Shamia Applebaum, you gotta put me on. Shamia. Y'all, Shamia done walked in and she says she is ready to drop it with Drew. Every time I hear drop it with Drew, it cracks me up. It tickles me to my core. So they get to working out. They're doing their little stretching, their squats and whatnot. And then they all sit down after the workout and chop it up a little bit more. Angela says that she was shocked that Shamia asked if Dennis and Drew were doing the thing, because she feels like she was doing it on Portia's behalf, acting like Portia's assistant. So Shamia and Angela get to in a little back and forth with each other. Shamia is trying to explain her side. Angela keeps butting in like she's running the show and actually accuses Shamia of cutting her off. Now, was I watching the same show and the same conversation? Because all I saw was Angela trying to insert her unsolicited 2 cents. At this point, Shamia's like, you know what? I got my workout in. I then dropped it with Drew. I've got my happy endorphins, and I've got some other real stuff going on. So I'm out. I'm done. Peace. And I do not blame her one bit. That's why I love Shamia. Shamia is not about the BS. She ain't about to get down in the dirt with you. She's got real stuff going on. And she's not worried about what the hell Drew and Dennis is doing or what anybody else has to say about her supporting her friend Portia. So I applaud the star, Shamia. Now, in Drew's little interview, she had to take one last dig at Shamia, talking about, well, I do agree with Angela. If you look up a picture of a lap dog, you'll see Shamia's face. Well, let me just go on over to Google and see what pops up when I type in what the definition of a liar is. Oh, Drew, there you are, honey. Hey girl, how you been? So now it's been 1 week since Shamia's party. Portia and baby Portia, PJ, are at the firehouse indoor little play area discovering some things. There's a ball pit, there's a rock wall, there's just all kinds of little fun activities for the kiddos. And Portia is having a ball with PJ, y'all. She didn't channel her inner child and she's climbing up the little stairs and just playing with PJ, just having a blast. And in walks Dennis. He calls over to PJ, "Hey, baby." And she comes running. And Portia and Dennis sit and talk, and PJ goes off to play. So Portia's neck is iced the hell out, and Dennis notices. He's like, "Ooh, I like that bling on your neck, girl." Then they get to talking about what went down between Drew and Portia at Shamia Applebaum's party. Portia says, "It's not serious, but what's going on with you and Drew?" And he says, "It's just business." Am I detecting a theme? Y'all both saying it's just business, but you out here in the streets wearing matching denim outfits and airbrush t-shirts like y'all are going to the prom like the Bobbsey twins. That's not what people who are just in business together do. Portia says, "Well, that's not what Drew said in front of all of the girls." She says, "You are Jesus in the flesh, child. You are the greatest thing since sliced bread. You died and you rose 3 days later." She said, "You are an angel on earth." Hot Dog Man says, "Well, Drew's going through a divorce from my homie, and I see you get married 11 million times on TV." Sir, what kind of math are you doing? She's gotten married once. Aren't we being just a little bit dramatic here, Dennis? Anyway, Dennis is like, "So what do you think I'm screwing, Drew? I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole." Well, at least there's that. But regardless, you running around town dressed in denim outfits and matching airbrushed t-shirts with Drew does not do well for the optics. And you know it looks crazy. Portia's like, "Look, Drew is trying to film with you and I don't like it." Dennis is like, "Well, if she's using it for promotion for this album, then what's the harm?" That set Portia off. Portia said, "You know you finna piss me off. You're willing to film with her on this show?" And I get where Portia is coming from on this because she has a decent parenting dynamic with Dennis now. Any foolishness that may take place between Drew and Dennis on camera on this platform, it can make all those good vibes go right on out the window. Dennis was saved by the bell, y'all, sort of, because PJ comes running over and says, "Mommy, I don't know what to build." So they had to stop their conversation right then so Portia could attend to PJ. Now, she gets a little emotional, so she takes a break from the conversation and walks off. And she's telling producers that she's not going to let Dennis see her cry. He's not going to get her tears. He does not deserve them. She says that she doesn't ask much from Dennis other than to be a good dad to PJ, which he already is, and not to film with anybody else on that show. All she wants is some loyalty from Dennis, but it just seems like it may be a little tricky getting that from him. 20 minutes later, y'all, we see Dennis and Portia driving off in a car, but there are no cameras inside of the car, so we don't know what's going on. However, the mics are still very hot. And she tells Dennis, "You with another housewife on this show looks crazy, and all promo ain't good promo. So you do what you do, but if you do the wrong thing, there will be repercussions." So y'all, that's the end of the episode. And, I'm really digging the Housewives this season. I know we're only 2 episodes in, but the girls are really making up for the hiatus that we had to live through, not knowing whether or not this show was even going to come back or how it was going to look when it came back. But they're really doing their thing. Shamia, she is my favorite. Who knew that Shamia was going to be bringing what she's bringing? And it's not even like she's bringing a bunch of drama. I just like her personality and I like how she moves. And if y'all didn't check out her single, she dropped a single last week called Never Had. It is super cute. I really dig it. It's a nice little bop, and it is streaming now on all of the streaming platforms. So check that out. Come back here next week. I will be posting another video for episode 3 of The Housewives. If you haven't seen my first video for episode 1, go check that out. I also posted another video for another show called Coming From America. It's on HBO Max. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Or if you just want to listen to my review on it, I'll be posting a new video for 1 episode each week. It is a 6-part series. So check that out. I want to talk to you all. I want to engage. Let's start a discussion. Tell me what you thought about this episode and this video in the comments down below. Do not forget to share, like, and subscribe. It's the easiest way and best way to support my channel and the growth of my channel. Y'all, until next week, stay safe, stay blessed, and don't forget to tell someone that you love them today, even if it's just yourself, because that counts for a lot. Until next time, love y'all.